You're listening because you want to get smart, fast, about interesting new stuffer. Cut through the noise, understand what's actually important.
Yeah, and today, we're doing just that.
We're taking a deep dive into how technology is creating, well, really personalized experiences.
Exactly. We've been looking at this really fascinating project. It's called Gen AI-powered travel audio guide.
Okay.
And it's all about using AI, artificial intelligence, to build custom audio tours for like any place you can think of.
Hold on, let's unpack this a bit. So you just tell it a place, say Rome or Tokyo,
Yep.
and it just whips up a unique audio guide for me. How on earth does that actually work? What's the magic?
Well, it's not quite magic, but it is a really clever mix of a few key technologies. So the project uses Google's Gemini model, something called Retrieval Augmented Generation. People call it RAG for short.
RAG, okay.
And Google Text-to-Speech. Now, think of RAG as the research arm. It finds and pulls together all the relevant info.
So it's like having a super fast research assistant just for my trip.
Precisely. And in the example we looked at, it pulls facts from places like Wikipedia, but also a more, let's say, curated set of knowledge using vector search.
Vector search. That sounds technical. How's that different from just Googling?
Yeah, it's a bit different. Instead of just matching keywords, vector search understands the meaning behind the words. So if you ask about ancient temples in, say, Kathmandu,
Right.
it can also find info about historic religious sites or old places of worship. Even if you didn't use those exact words, it gets the concept.
Okay, that's smart. So it gathers all this meaningful info. But then what? It doesn't just read out a list of facts, does it? That would be boring.
No, exactly. That's where the next piece comes in. Gemini, the AI model, takes all that information gathered by Raggy and weaves it into a story, a proper narrative.
Interesting. So it actually writes a script.
Yes, it generates a script designed to be informative, but also, engaging, like a good tour guide would.
Yeah, the final step must be the audio part.
That's the final piece of the puzzle. Google Text-to-Speech takes that script, that narrative, and turns it into a natural-sounding voice. An audio guide you can actually listen to while you're walking around.
Okay, this sounds really cool in theory. To make it more real for everyone listening, you mentioned an example.
We did.
Yeah.
We looked specifically at Kathmandu in Nepal.
Kathmandu.
Someone just put Kathmandu into the system. That was the input.
Just the name.
Just the name. And this whole process we've described just kicked into gear and created a personalized guide for Kathmandu.
Wow. And the key thing is, this wasn't some pre-recorded guide they just pulled off a shelf.
Absolutely not. It was generated completely fresh, on demand, just from that one word, Kathmandu.
So it really shows what you, the listener, could do with this. Type in your destination, get a custom tour.
That's the idea. It's a direct example of the potential.
Okay, let's walk through that Kathmandu example then.
Yeah.
What are the actual steps? Input, Kathmandu. Then what happens?
Right. So first is that ARG process we talked about, Retrieval Augmented Generation.
The research phase.
Exactly. The system goes out and fetches loads of relevant facts about Kathmandu. It uses that specialized vector database for specific stuff, and also pulls from the, wider knowledge on Wikipedia.
So it gets a really good, broad base of information.
Yeah. It ensures the AI has a solid understanding before it starts writing. Comprehensive context.
Got it. And then Gemini steps in.
Then Gemini takes over. Specifically, they used Gemini 2.0 Flash in this project.
Okay.
It takes all that info, that context from a RAG, and generates the actual script for the audio tour.
And the goal isn't just facts.
No. The goal is a narrative. Something informative, sure, but also engaging, like you'd expect from a human guide. It structures the information thoughtfully.
Got sense. And then finally, the voice.
Then that script gets passed to Google Text-to-Speech. TTS brings it to life, creates the audio file you can listen to.
And you mentioned we have a little taste of what that Kathmandu guide actually sounds like.
We do. And when you listen, try to notice how it blends, the cultural facts, practical tips, and even some more evocative descriptions. It tries to capture the feel of the place.
All right, let's hear a bit of this AI-generated Kathmandu guide.
Okay, so just to quickly recap what we heard there in the whole process.
Yeah, let's crystallize it.
You start, you give it a destination, like Kathmandu.
Step 1.
Then our RAG Retrieval Augmented Generation goes and finds the info, Wikipedia, vector databases, all that.
Step 2, research.
Step 3, Gemini 2.0 Flash takes that info and writes the narrative, the script.
Step 3, writing.
And step 4, Google Text-to-Speech turns that script into the audio voice, like the clip we just discussed.
Simple enough when you break it down. But just creating it isn't the whole story, is it? How do they know if the guide is actually good?
That's a crucial point. They didn't just build it and hope for the best. They built in quality control.
How so?
The project includes an AI evaluator. It actually uses another Gemini model.
Another AI.
Yep. To basically grade the script that the first Gemini model wrote.
Read it on what?
On things like clarity, is it easy to understand? Accuracy, are the facts right? And engagement, is it interesting to listen to?
Huh. So you have an AI writer being reviewed by an AI editor.
Pretty much. It's a fascinating layer of automation, isn't it?
It really is. Keeps the quality up automatically.
Exactly. It's a really important step for making sure these guides are genuinely useful and, well, good, continuously improving them.
And this entire thing, this Gen AI Guide Builder,
Yeah.
it was all put together in a Kaggle notebook, somewhere people can actually see it and maybe even try it.
Yes, and that's a really key takeaway here. The whole project built and deployed in a Kaggle notebook.
Which means?
Which means it's accessible. The source material we looked at explicitly says that you, the listener, can find a link to that notebook and actually experiment with it yourself.
Oh, wow. So you could potentially make your own audio guide.
That's the implication. It makes the technology really tangible. You can interact with it directly, not just hear us talk about it.
That's fantastic. It's one thing to discuss AI creating personalized experiences, but seeing a real working example, where you literally type in Kathmandu and get this detailed narrated tour back, it really does spark the imagination.
That absolutely does.
It kind of makes you think beyond travel guides. Where else could this kind of instant personalized information delivery be useful? How could it change how we learn about, well, pretty much anything?